Hey folks, this is David back again with another video, and this time I'm going to be talking about the 2019 film Ford versus Ferrari, starring Matt Damon and Christian Bale. Now, I saw this film at the movie theater just a few weeks back, and it had already been at the theater like 4 or 5 months. I happened to be able to catch it at Hollywood Theaters. That's Regal Cinema in Mobile, Alabama, because they're really good about holding on to films for a good long while, and I'm glad they did, because you really needed to see this at the movie theater. I mean, it's worth it in home video, but still, the thrill of the loud motors in this racing movie, these cars, it's just great. 4 Academy Award nominations, and one of them was for Best Sound Mixing, Best Sound Editing, Best Film Editing, Best Picture. It was a worthwhile film, and in the usual way that I make my little movie videos here, not going to be really giving a review of the movie so much as telling what this film meant to me, and there will be some spoilers, so please, if you haven't seen the movie, watch that first, and then if you still want to hear what I have to say about it, come back, because and listen to this video then, because well, I'm bound to just get carried away with how much I like this movie and how much I like talking about how much I like this movie, like I do other movies. And so just be warned, I might give something away that you wish I hadn't told you about. So go ahead and exit out now if you absolutely don't want to hear any details. But hopefully you've seen this movie by now, because it was really worth it. I saw the trailer and was immediately enthused about this film, and I knew I wanted to see it, and I wanted to see it at the movie theater. That rarely happens to me, so I knew this was going to be something special. My mom had this and let me step back a second. For me to say that about Christian Bale and Matt Damon, I don't dislike these guys, but between Matt Damon and some of the, not really to do with him as an actor, but some like political stuff, Me Too, whatnot, and Christian Bale with his flying off the handle on the set of the Terminator Salvation, there's just little things. But when you go into a movie, that's what the movies are about. You're able to just forget about the real world and get enmeshed in this story. This, granted, it's all pretend, it's acting, it's a movie. It's why you love movies, and why I love movies. This film is now my favorite Matt Damon movie and my favorite Christian Bale movie. That's how much I liked it. My mom saw the trailer and she thought, I was surprised by her. She said, it's going to be about there's going to be some crude sexual stuff. It's going to be about guys and their cars and macho this, and she was afraid it was going to be like, there were going to be like naked women or something in it, and there wasn't. And I don't know what her deal was, because when I saw the trailer, I'm like, this is just going to be about cars and racing and American ingenuity. And boy, was it. That's what you get in this movie. I couldn't believe she had that reaction. I think she's just kind of set in her ways. Anyway, I went to see it myself, which I've come to think lately is the best way for me to go and enjoy a movie at the movie theater the most, just by going and watching it by myself, with other people there, but not with anybody who might be leaning over and talking to you like, hey, didn't he play in such and such? Or, hey, where have I seen her from? Talking during the movie, and especially during trailers, just gets on my nerves. Anyways, that's what I need to say about the film first and foremost. I really loved it, and I hope you like it too. I didn't know about the history, and this is just one more of those examples where I appreciated this film telling the story. Yeah, it's not going to be told perfectly, but it never will be by people who lived later than these things happened in 1966. It's all about catching the spirit of what was this great achievement of I'll go ahead and say it, capitalism and patriotism, ingenuity, and the spirit of competition. That might not sound like the kind of thing that a lot of people would be going for, but that's what you get in this movie, because the character that Matt Damon plays, Carroll Shelby, really fights an uphill battle, and he does it really well, at least in Matt Damon's portrayal of Shelby, of fighting against this this bureaucracy inside of these big car companies. How there's even one scene where he's there to visit Ford, Henry Ford Jr., the second, that is, Henry Ford the second, played so well by Tracy Letts, and he tells him about how, I'm not sure what's in that envelope they just handed you, but I saw that it passed through four different sets of hands before it finally got to you. And it was just his way of pointing out that it's really hard to get anything done with so many people as the middlemen, so many people being in charge of making the decisions instead of you just pursuing your dream. And there's more than one instance in this film where they tell that story so well. First of all, John Bernthal, who I haven't seen him in a lot of stuff. I know he was the Punisher, but I just don't care for the Punisher TV show. I never watched it. Played the young Lee Iacocca in this film. He actually has the scene where it was the closest thing to what my mom was afraid of. Oh, it's going to be about, there's going to be sex in this movie. Like, no, there's not. The only thing that was bad, if you even want to consider it bad, was there's John Bernthal playing Lee Iacocca. He's this executive trying to sell his idea to his boss, Henry Ford II. There's this big executive meeting, and he's saying, this company did so much during the war, World War II, how we came through and we know about hard work and grit and ingenuity. We provided what was needed to win, to exceed, and to be the best. He talks about the soldiers coming home, and he says, what do you think they did when they came home from the war? They had sex. And of course all the guys are like chuckling in the room. That's the only thing that my mom would have objected to. And I'm sorry to keep bringing up my mother. It's just, this is the story behind how I finally got to see this movie, because I was working my job every day, and it just wasn't ever a good time to go see this film at the movie theater unless I wanted to eat up my weekend, which it would have been worth it. It really would have. And that was the only thing in the movie that was like borderline crude. Other than that, there was just plenty of cursing. Josh Lucas in this movie plays Leo Beebe, and he plays such a good jerk in movies. I know he was in Stealth. That movie's kind of grown on me. He was the lead hero of the pilot in that talking airplane stealth bomber movie. Entertaining. He plays such a good jerk, though, and I remember him from The Hulk, 2003. The kind of guy you just want to, you wish you could reach into the screen and slap him. That kind of obnoxious kind of guy. He plays Leo Beebe, and Leo Beebe is really, there's not really a bad guy in this movie. He plays the guy who wants to, I don't know, it's not really, brown-nosing really isn't the best thing to say about his relationship with Henry Ford II, although he's his, like, second in command. He's the closest underling in the corporate structure that you see in this movie, and he's always trying to be seen as the one with the ideas. But of course, it's always for the company. It's always for Henry Ford II. It's always about Ford. It's always about doing what's best for the company, that kind of thing. Like he's a company man, and yet he's still, it's like he wants to be, it's like he wants the credit. He wants to be in charge. He wants to be the one who will get the credit and like go down in the history books, kind of a thing. That's the best way I can think to describe right now what I saw of his character and behavior in the movie. And what a great jerk he plays. Just that kind of, he does his smile a certain way. You just want to slap him, because it's like you screaming at the movie theater, stop interfering, man. This car is never going to get built. We're not going to win the race if you keep gumming up the works. At least that's what I was thinking as I watched the film. Starts out with Matt Damon having, you know what, let me read you this real quick from IMDb. American car designer Carroll Shelby and driver Ken Miles battle corporate interference and the laws of physics to build a revolutionary race car for Ford in order to defeat Ferrari at the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1966. That says it right there. It's so good. They stretched that over, I don't even know how, 2 hours, 32 minutes. It was kind of long, but it's so worth it, man. This was a good film. Directed by James Mangold, and I was kind of disappointed by the Wolverine. I need to go back and watch Copland, but I feel like he hit it out of the park with this movie. Several different producers, and I wanted to give credit to these, to the studios who produced this. I know it was distributed by 20th Century Fox. I remember that part, but I can't find the box office budget. 97,600,000. Cumulative worldwide gross $225,473,406. That's really nice. That's really nice. Production company, Churning Entertainment, 20th Century Fox. See more. I just wanted to mention those because the proper names are so important to know who produces this stuff. In the movie, you see this competition between two different car companies, Ferrari and Ford. And it's just there was a movie, I know I'm all over the place, but try and follow me if you can, that I wanted to see, but I didn't, and I wanted to see it at the theater because I thought, you know what, that would be a worthwhile film to watch right there. It was Michael Keaton in, I think it's called The Founder. I didn't watch it, and I still haven't seen it, but especially after watching this movie, I gotta get around to seeing it one day and giving my thoughts on that movie, because it's about, I almost want to say it's just about Americanism. It's about this race to be the best. And what better way to demonstrate that spirit than in a racing movie? You see cars in this film that, they look good, they sound good. Christian Bale is something else in this movie. He plays what was, I guess, an English immigrant who fought in the war, Ken Miles. So talented, so likable. He's down to earth, and yet he has a passion for this stuff, for driving, and he knows cars better than anybody else that Carroll Shelby, played by Matt Damon, knows. And he ends up being the one he goes to, having known him for years, to build this car, to win this race. It's Lee Iacocca, again, played by John Bernthal, who goes to Matt Damon and asks, if I were to write you a blank check or something like, do you think you could make a car that could help Ford beat Ferrari at the 24 Hours of Le Mans? And then there's all these memories that Matt Damon has of the race that he was in. That's how the movie opens. There's this nostalgic reiteration like 2 or 3 times in the movie about how he's narrating over the film, saying something just happens to you when you're driving, when you're around 7 Gs, and I can't remember what he said, but it's like the world stands still, only you're moving, or something like that. I wish I had the quote in front of me because it's worth it. Again, you have to watch it to see what he means, because at the end of the film, it's like, not that he hadn't experienced it before, but Ken Miles, Christian Bale, experiences what Matt Damon's talking about. And it comes after such and such happens that he realizes he's going to win the race. You got to see it. You got to see it unfold to know what I'm talking about, and how just this happy feeling of a payoff, of persistence, of working nonstop, of using your brain, an all-go, no-quit spirit that they both portrayed in this film, to make this car all that it needs to be, and the behind-the-scenes stuff while Ken is helping to redesign the car over and over again, making it lighter, making it faster. That Matt Damon, Carroll Shelby, is fighting the bureaucracy. They even lock They even locked Josh Lucas, Leo Beebe, in a room at one point so that Matt Damon can be alone with Henry Ford long enough to get him in the car when he's coming on tour with them for just a moment, checking out, seeing how they're spending his money at the car shop, and they're driving at their track where there's this airport. You're almost feeling like Matt Damon, Carroll Shelby at that point. Like, you got to show this man something. They get him in the car, and he floors it. He goes as fast as the car will take him, and Henry Ford II had never experienced how fast the car went. Carroll Shelby, Matt Damon, he's rounding the corners, he's dodging the barriers, he's doing all this and slamming on the brakes, and you think they're going to flip the car or something. Henry Ford II, he bursts into tears. And some people might laugh, but I was just thinking to myself, maybe I'll be crying too. He breaks down crying, saying, my father needed to see this. He had no idea. I had no idea what this was like. I had no idea about these cars. It's just a great moment. And Matt Damon, Carroll Shelby, has another speech where he's trying to tell him, you got to hang on to Ken Miles. Ken Miles is the one who's making this car. Ken Miles is the one who's gonna win if you'll just stay the course and stick with him, because all the while Josh Lucas's character Leo Beebe is so concerned about the image that Ken Miles is too much of a loose cannon. He's not the image. He's too rough around the edges to be the driver we need to drive our Ford cars. And but Matt Damon finally convinces him once and for all. That is Henry Ford II during the movie. Again, this movie is so entertaining. Oh, let me see. I don't want to leave anybody out. Let me make sure I make special mention of somebody in here before I forget him, because I recognized him from a couple past movies, and it seems like it had been so long since I saw him in anything. Ray McKinnon as Phil Remington. I remember him from The Gun and Betty Lou's Handbag. I don't know why. That's the first thing I want to mention as far as what I saw him in. But I think he was in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? But let me make sure of that. I'm looking on IMDb right now. Yep, as Vernon T. Waldrop. I remember he was the guy who was courting the lead star, George Clooney's wife or something, and he had to wrestle him away from her. So I don't know. Just wanted to make mention of that because he is like the second in command, lifelong friend and cohort and partner with Carroll Shelby in their business for the whole time, and he's in there, and along with the leads, Matt Damon's Carroll Shelby and Christian Bale's Ken Miles, I really just got the feel that somehow, some way, whatever, through personal interviews, through whatever recording, film, whatever may exist of those guys from back then, that they studied their characters and they really got into them. I appreciated seeing him all the way through the movie. Somebody else here who, let me make sure I say, Jack McMullen as Charlie Agapoir. I know I'm mispronouncing that, but he is also in there helping to build the car, and you see him a lot in the film. Just wanted to say that it was neat seeing that one actor after so long. He's a supporting actor, has been in all kinds of stuff, but it's just been a long time since I saw him in anything. That's Ray McKinnon. Matt Damon's character has a heart condition he takes pills for, and you're thinking, is he going to die or something? Because that's how the movie opens, where it's like he's blacking out around 7Gs or whatever. It's like he was on that same racetrack at night in the rain. So dangerous. And then you see Christian Bale's character doing the same thing at the end. And basically the movie gives the impression that he's got to stop racing for his health's sake, that he's got to stop racing because his heart can't really handle the pressure, the tension, like the exhilaration, all of it, the mental stress and everything of driving so fast and competing so hard the way he had been. The doctor basically tells him point blank at the beginning of the movie, listen, stop arguing with me, the valve is blown. He tells him that, and that the pills are helping to keep him alive. And so he's got to make this transition in his life. That's hard, and I think Matt Damon does a good job of acting it, that it's hard to distance himself, even a little bit, from something he loves so much. His character, that is Carroll Shelby, just seems to live for driving, live for making cars and selling cars. And Ken Miles, Christian Bale's character, just lived for fixing them and driving them when he could. The passion that is demonstrated, though, is what I'm getting at, because he's married, and his wife, played by Catriona Balfe. I'm sorry, that's her name. Her real life name was Molly Miles, wife of Ken Miles. She is great in this movie. There's a scene in this movie where it's like she knows he's up to something, that is her husband Ken, but he's not communicating it to her. She's in the driver's seat of their car, and she floors it, man, and he is freaking out. And it's so much fun to watch this character played by Christian Bale freak out at his wife saying, "You're going to kill somebody," because she's like, "Oh, I think it's exciting." She was being so sarcastic. And it was such, you were like, I hope the cops don't see him. The whole time Matt Damon's in his car in this movie, he just kind of floors it, and he'll run people off the road in the middle of the street, run a red light just to go fast in his car. I'm like, are there no cops in 1966? Anyways, she's great. You feel this down-home concern, there's this, how do I say it, contrast of worlds, because Ken Miles, the IRS comes down on him hard. They lock he's out of money, he can't pay, his business is failing or something, and all of his tools are locked up in his garage when the IRS seals it, and they're in danger of losing their home. And so there's this desperation factor with him, and so you kind of, you understand where she's coming from with her freak out, or freaking him out, flooring it in that car, and causing him to panic. Is like, "You're going to tell me what's going on. You're going to tell me." He's like, "All right, fine, I'll tell you. Just stop the car before you kill somebody." He tells her about the job opportunity that's given to him through Matt Damon's character, Shelby, to go and build a car for Ford to compete in Ferrari. He says, and they'll pay me $200 a day. And again, this is in 1966. $200 a day. She says, she's so good. She says, "What, are you nuts?" It's like, why have you he says he hadn't made up his mind about what he wants to do yet. She says, "Well, are you nuts? How could you not have said you'll take the job?" He's just kind of, this is how the scene ends. He's just kind of grinning and shaking his head like, "Yeah, I'm crazy." But I guess you had to be a little bit crazy to do that stuff. What else can I say about the film that I really liked? You see his family, his son especially, how much he looks up to him, how much he enjoys driving, how it's a family affair for them, it's a family business, how he wants to pass on racing to him. You see him win a race in not one of the big races or anything, but this local thing at the beginning of the movie, where Ken Miles, Christian Bale's character, gets so frustrated and mad at Shelby, he throws a wrench at him, and he busts his own windshield by accident. So he's got a little bit of an anger problem there, and that's what Leo Beebe, Josh Lucas's character, was trying to do him in over. The son was such a good, I enjoyed his acting so much. Played by Noah Jupe, or Jupe, maybe I'm getting his name wrong. Peter Miles, the son of Ken. And after he wins the race, there's this scene where he's singing this song. It's catchy, but I can't remember it right now. He has his son jump in the car, and they do a few laps, and believe it or not, his character took some convincing. It took some convincing to get him to do this job for Ford, for Shelby. Granted, they're friends and everything. They know one another. It's just the friendship that develops during this time, at least as portrayed by the movie, it's really something special. It really is. And the very first instance you see of like a bureaucracy getting in the way, and all the little rules and all the little, every little every T dot your I, cross your T, dot your I's, regs about these cars, comes in that first race where there's the guy with the clipboard. He's a clipboard man. Comes over to Ken and he says, "Sorry, sir, I'm not going to let you in. I'm not going to be able to let you enter this race. You won't be able to race today." And Ken's like, "What?" He's doing his British, got that British accent and everything, man. It's so neat to hear Christian Bale get a little bit closer to his natural voice with a character like this than a lot of the Western sounding or Americanized voices he plays in other movies. It was all about the trunk space. Something about the trunk space and how wide the rear of the car was or something. He was literally disqualifying Ken from being able to race. And he gets, "So I see your little book there. I see what you're doing." It's so hilarious. It's so fun to watch. Because while there are these customers of Shelby's come along, maybe looking to buy some cars, he's trying to humor them while they hear all of a sudden somebody's banging and beating on a car. And it's kind of going on behind them. They look over there and Ken Miles, Christian Bale, is literally beating his trunk in so that it'll then be within the dimensions so he can race. And again, you'd have to see it to really understand what I'm talking about. But again, that's just the first taste of somebody coming along saying, "You can't do this because," and then marking out some little rule, some little standard or regulation that you don't comply with, and so you can't participate. What I was going to say. You see how smart Ken Miles is, what an engineer he is, what a good driver he is, how he's got a feel for driving, how he can tell what's wrong with the car, if anything, just by listening to it. That kind of an auto mechanic, that kind of an engineer. And there's something to be said about the battling through the adversity of it that you see that they did in this film, telling what happened back then. Ken Miles had to win a race just to keep on racing. That's how borderline is. I don't want to use the word vindictive, but Leo Beebe apparently just did not want him to be the driver. And so there's a point in the movie where he's pushed out, Ken Miles is, and they get somebody else to drive. And he is just obsessed with the car. He's constantly working, thinking about how to make it better, make this and that more efficient, make it lighter, make it faster to win the race. He's listening on the radio broadcast back here in the States at some foreign race going on somewhere over in Europe somewhere, and even then he's making notes about how he wants to make the car better. They really portrayed him so well. Just his passion. It's just straight up passion that you see out of that character in this movie. And in the end, it's hilarious the way Matt Damon's character, Carroll Shelby, in the movie finally convinces Henry Ford II, "Don't mess around. Ken Miles and this car are one and the same thing. If you want to win, Ken is your driver. He's the one who's building this car." You see the pressure that was on within that company at that time to do something. You see the almost hilarious, like a legend, like a funny legend, the way Lee Iacocca goes to convince Henry Ford II that yes, Ford can compete with Ferrari and it can win in these races. It can build a better car. How he goes suggesting a merger, actually proposing a merger when he shows them the numbers, and that Ferrari is basically broke because, in a nutshell, the head of the company, let me find the actor and his name here. Is it Enzo Ferrari? Yeah, there he is, played by Remo Giron. Really, just so well acted, so good. They really, the filmmakers and actors and the producers of this film really made something special here, in my opinion. Let me get back to what I was saying. John Barenthal's character, Lee Iacocca, the way he's rejected, and his proposal is rejected. Again, he goes overseas, and then they realize after the fact that that Ferrari was just messing with him, letting him come in there and propose everything, and he actually insults him on their way out. Why don't you go back and tell Henry Ford, just stay in your ugly little factory making your ugly little cars. It's so great the way you see them like almost standing at attention like soldiers. Not really, they're all casually, they're super well dressed because they're super rich. But when he goes and explains to Henry Ford II how it all went down and how they were said no to and rejected, there wouldn't be a merger, he asks, what did he say? What exactly did he say? And then he tells him what he said. He said, sir, you make ugly little cars in your ugly little factory. And I think he said, and he called you fat, or something like that. Maybe my memory's messing with me. But it's so great. It's like an insult, but also like this, it's like there's this challenge there. There's this pride and ego stuff that goes on there that is what was the mover to get all this stuff in motion. He said, we're going to do this. We're going to build a car, and it's going to beat Ferrari at Le Mans. 24-hour race. I don't know how they did it. I really don't. Well, they ended up doing stuff like changing out the whole brake system when the brakes would wear out during the race. And then the people saying, oh, you can't do that, you can't do that. And there's Matt Damon. Hey, we read your book. Show me where it says we can't. He gets in the guy's face again, the Italian guy's face. Says, tell me where it says we can't change out the whole brake system. It's really well worth it. I hope you watch this movie. I got to stop this because at 28 minutes, I certainly don't want to go 52 minutes like I did with my last movie I talked about, 1917. I guess I've hit all the high points. I guess I've said everything I want to say. It's a great little flick. It really is. It'll take you to a particular time and a particular endeavor that, if it ever has been put to movie form before, I don't think it's been certainly has been put there this well. And it'll make you appreciate some things, I think. The film ends on kind of a melancholy note. I won't give the details on that part. I feel afterwards thinking, man, I feel kind of down. Yeah, maybe this did happen, but why did they have to put this in the movie, kind of a thing? But that's part of the heart of the characters that they brought out. Ken Miles and Carroll Shelby. How it talks about their lives after it talks about what they achieved and how this was historic and how it was fun and how it was for their company, their country, how it was... Well, I can't say anymore. I can't say anymore. Hope you watch it. I watched it. I could watch it again, easy. And so glad I was able to catch it in the movie theater. I'm going to end on that note, folks. And just say thank you so much for listening to me. If you've listened all this while, I really appreciate it. And we'll see you in the next one. Take care.